The three deadliest phantoms in human history. Imagine a single person holding the power to end thousands of lives. In the history of warfare and conflict, there are three names that stand completely alone. They didn't drop bombs from planes, and they didn't push buttons from thousands of miles away. They looked their targets in the eyes. This is the ultimate YouTube-style breakdown of the three highest personal body counts ever recorded: the executioner, the ghost, and the artist. Story 1. The Leather Apron, the story of Vasily Blokhin, picture walking into a pitch-black basement. The walls are covered in thick, soundproof padding. There's a single drain in the middle of the concrete floor. Standing under a dim light bulb is a man dressed entirely in black leather. A leather cap, a heavy leather butcher's apron, and gloves that pull all the way up his forearms. This man is Major General Vasily Blokhin, Joseph Stalin's personal chief executioner, and he holds a terrifying world record. He is the most prolific individual executioner to have ever lived. In the spring of 1940, Stalin signed a secret order to eliminate over 20,000 captured Polish officers and thinkers. Instead of using a firing squad, Stalin trusted Blokhin to engineer an assembly line of death. Every single night for 28 days straight, the routine never changed. Blokhin would put on his leather suit so the blood wouldn't ruin his uniform. Guards would bring a prisoner into the soundproof room, forcing them to their knees. Before the prisoner could even process where they were, Blokhin would step out from the shadows behind them and pull the trigger of his personal German Walther pistol, which he chose because it didn't overheat like Soviet guns. The body was dragged out, the floor was hosed into the drain, and the next prisoner walked in. Blokhin did this every 3 minutes, 10 hours a night. By the end of those 28 days, he had personally shot 7,000 men. Over his entire career, his personal body count is estimated between 10,000 and 20,000 people. Driven mad by the ghosts of his past, he eventually took his own life in 1955. Story 2. The White Death, the story of Simo Häyhä. Now change the scene. Imagine lying completely still in a snowbank. The temperature has plummeted to minus 40 degrees. The air is so frozen it burns your lungs to breathe. If you blink too fast, your eyelashes will freeze shut. You've been in this exact spot for 6 hours, waiting. For most people, this is a death sentence. For a 5-foot, 3-inch Finnish farmer named Simo Häyhä, it was just another day at work. When the Soviet Union invaded tiny Finland in 1939, Simo grabbed his old hunting rifle and melted into the woods. He did something that shocked military experts. He refused to use a telescopic scope. Simo knew that glass lenses fogged up in the Arctic chill. He knew the winter sun could catch the glare of a lens, flashing like a mirror and giving away his position. And he knew a scope forced you to raise your head 2 inches higher out of the snow, 2 inches that could cost you your life. Instead, he used simple iron sights, wore pure white camouflage, and kept a mouthful of fresh snow at all times to freeze his breath so no vapor would rise from his mouth. The Soviet soldiers never saw him coming. They just watched their comrades drop one by one. Terrified, they named him the White Death. In just 98 days, Simo achieved a staggering 505 to 542 confirmed kills, an average of 5 per day in near-total darkness. He survived an exploding bullet to the face on the last week of the war and lived quietly to the age of 96. Story 4. The Canvas of Blood, the story of Ivan Sidorenko. Finally, imagine a young art student sitting in a quiet Moscow classroom, painting canvases and dreaming of a peaceful life. Overnight, Nazi Germany invades, the world shatters, and you are drafted into the Red Army. Most young artists would panic in the chaos of the front line. But Ivan Sidorenko discovered a dark, extraordinary talent, the exact same traits that made him a brilliant painter. Flawless spatial awareness, measuring distances by eye and keeping a perfectly steady hand, made him a lethal marksman. Ivan taught himself how to use a sniper rifle while serving as a mortar commander. While other soldiers fired blindly into smoke and dirt, Ivan turned sniping into a cold, exact science. He became a human calculator, factoring in wind speed, humidity, and bullet drop in a fraction of a second. He would hide in the charred ruins of cities or crawl deep into forest brush, waiting hours for high-value targets like Nazi officers or communication scouts. Ivan's precision was so devastating that he racked up 500 confirmed kills. The Soviet High Command realized he was far too valuable to risk losing, so they pulled him off the front lines and gave him a new assignment: train the next generation. Ivan used his meticulous, artistic approach to teach over 250 elite Soviet snipers how to disappear into the landscape. Together, his students took out thousands of enemy troops, turning the young art student's personal legacy into a massive, hidden army of phantoms. Story 3. The Secret Weapon of the Jungle. The story of Adelbert Waldron. Now imagine the dense, suffocating jungles of the Vietnam War. Visibility is almost zero. The air is heavy with humidity, and the thick canopy of trees hides thousands of hidden traps and ambush squads. To survive out here, you don't just need a good eye. You need reflexes that are faster than humanly possible. Enter Staff Sergeant Adelbert Waldron, a quiet American soldier who silently set a record that stood for decades. Waldron didn't operate from high mountains or safe, static bunkers. He often operated from the moving decks of U.S. Navy PBR boats cruising down the muddy Mekong River. While the boat rolled and bounced violently on the water, Waldron would look through his night vision-equipped rifle and pick off enemy snipers hidden high up in the jungle trees, hundreds of yards away. On one famous occasion, an enemy sniper fired at his boat from a tree over 900 yards out. While everyone else scrambled for cover on the rocking deck, Waldron calmly stood up, aimed, and dropped the sniper with a single shot from a moving platform. With 109 confirmed kills, his terrifying speed and uncanny ability to hit moving targets made him the deadliest American sniper of the entire Vietnam conflict.